Alright, so what I'm going to do in this video is try to quickly block out the rest of his body. So if you remember, we had a line work layer, and then we have this layer here. So I'm going to hit Control H to get rid of those rulers. And on our kind of construction line layer down here, I'm going to shrink my brush down. And actually, let's go ahead and erase this arm. I'm going to hit E, and then just switch over to my line work and get rid of this arm here. And then scale this down. And then under my construction lines, I'm going to mark out where the neck is. So just kind of clicking there once, holding shift, and drawing a line across. Now the ear is just going to fall right below, the neck is going to fall right behind the ear here, and then it's going to line up with the center of the eye, like that. And really, it could go to the back, depending on where you want to put it, but that's generally where my generic line is. We've got our neckline here, so I'm going to go up here, and then it ends at the top of the shirt, so I'm going to connect those. I'm going to go to the top of the tie here, and the base of the tie. And that should be lined up with just where his chin is, so I'm going to draw it outside of here. And then just sort of connect these lines here. Notice that I end the shirt right where the ball of that bit is there. So something like this. I'm going to carry that back and just close it off like this. And this can all, again, it's going to get cleaned up when I jump up to my line work layer. Now his body, when we're doing something like this, you want to draw where the rib cage is going to fall. So something like this, just the ball, and it represents the rib cage line. And I know where that ends because my sternum is roughly the halfway point here. So this would be my sternum, right? And I'm overcomplicating it. Really, we just kind of could keep going across and just mark that stuff. And then the base of where his pants are is here. That where his crotch is ends sort of there, right? And it's the same thing here. If we want to look at the way a body is, it comes from where the neck is, and we can kind of curl around this way, and then the butt falls where that base is, this baseline is, and then it becomes like this lima bean shape. So we get something that looks like this. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect because A, we can clean it up, and B, we're going to see how it looks in 3D. So as we're starting to lay things out, like for example the tie, I'm just going to draw a line down like this, and then I'm looking for things like this where it connects, and I'm just going to go straight up. Even though it curves in, I'm just going straight up for now. Same thing with this jacket and the lapel, right? So here's his lapel, right? I'm just extending lines out, connecting the lapel here. It goes in here, comes in like that. And remember, it folds all the way into the jacket, so it's probably a good idea that wherever it ends down here, we draw that arc in to where that jacket is. Right, so here's the lapel falling in like this. I know this folds underneath at that same point, so I'm going to bring this in like this. And I'm just connecting the dots. And then this curves all the way in and it meets this line like that for the lapel. Okay. The jacket, the back of the jacket sits at the same distance, so I'm just going to have it sit back here and then fold all the way into where it ends here. So there's my jacket. Now for his vest, it ends all the way up here, so I'm going to end it there, and then it swoops into the jacket. So here, I'm just going to swoop that line in. The two buttons are roughly somewhere around here, so I'll just kind of throw those in, because inside of 3D, wherever I place them here, they're just going to be lined up on the side view anyway. And then I'm going to straighten out his shirt, and there's that. So we kind of have his jacket. Same thing with the pocket. I'll just place it somewhere around here. All right. His crotch goes down, straight down like this. The base of his shoes are like this. And for some characters, the cuter ones, you kind of want the feet to be bigger, almost like a teenager, right? Like their feet are sort of, if you look at comics, their feet are big. They sort of look, just kind of their proportions are off. So anyway, so just this sort of donut or this cake shape. And I'm just going to close that off like this. Top of the pants come like this, so maybe it should go a little lower even. And then you get something that looks like that. And then I'm just curving that into the center like this. And because this has an arch here, we want to do an arch back here and also in the front actually. And that's going to show when we go to rig it where the positioning of the knee is. And there's our side view. So now if I jump up to my line work layer here, if I go to zoom in here, if I take my construction lines, bring this down a bunch, I can just trace over that, right? And my opacity is only 30%. I'm going to hit 6 to bring that up to 60%. And jump on my line work layer and start to clean this up. So there's my neck. I get the collar of my shirt that comes down like that. I'm actually going to go up to 80%. My pen's sensitivity is a little off today. Start to lay out where that tie comes down, starting to curve that up. Same thing with that jacket. Bring this brown. And really, if you hit R, I should be turning my tablet to make it a little bit more comfortable when I'm drawing, right, like this. Because I like to push away with my tablet. Notice that this is still loose. Still have a little bit of the hairline marks in there. I'm not finalizing anything. Part of the reason for that is my process is constantly reworking and giving myself little hints of instant gratification when I'm creating art, right? So what does that mean? Well, if I spend too much time in the planning phase, I can oftentimes plan myself out of even starting the project, right? But when I do things like this, where it's quick and I can always rework it, right? And they're like little victories. Then, with that said, I don't give up as quickly, right? And that's kind of my own problem. So let's throw some pockets in here. If I hide my construction lines now, you can see we have the makings of a pretty okay profile view. We don't have the shoes done, and that's fine because in the next video, I want to jump back into modeling more, right? I want to get back into finishing the head and, figuring out what, like designs and, as this guy goes, if there's anything in his pocket. All right, that's it for this video.